So, I have another question about someone wanting to sell their home. They want to know what are some common mistakes people make when selling a home too soon? How can they avoid them?
They're talking about the personal home?
Yes.
Okay. So with the personal home, there is the personal use exclusion. If you live in a property for 2 out of the last 5 years, then you get a gains exclusion, and it's going to be based on your filing status. So if you're single, it's 250 grand of gains you get excluded. If you're married joint, $500,000. So let's say you move into a place, it could be more than 2 years, but it just has to be at least 2 years. And if it's less than that, it gets prorated down. So let's say you move into a place, and here's a big mistake people make. They don't factor in the total cost basis. You buy the house for, let's say, 400,000. Yep, you forgot about your closing costs, which added another 15,000. So now you're at 415. And then you forgot, oh, I remodeled the bathroom and I did this and I did that. And I spent another $100,000 on upgrades. So now you're at 515. And that's the number that you have to look at for your cost basis, not the 400 you started with, because you've put all this extra money into it. That's going to increase your cost basis for your personal residence. Then you turn around and you sell the house, however many years later, and now instead of a $400,000 house, it's a $800,000 house. And so let's say you're a single person, and so now the gain is going to be from, if you do it wrong, it's going to be from 400 to 800, which is 400 grand, less the 250 exclusion. That still leaves you with $150,000 worth of capital gains. But if you go from 515 instead of the 400, now you've taken 115 out of that 150 out. You're left with what, $35,000 worth of gains? Much more manageable. You got to pay attention to what it is you're doing when you're using the personal home. I've seen that a few times over the years. And the other thing that I see people mess up on is inherited property, actually. If your parent passes away, leaves you the house, and then you move into that and you're there for a few years and then you sell it, your cost basis is going to be the value of the real estate on the day you inherited. So it's not what you paid, which is zero, and it's not whatever your your parent paid, which could be whatever in the past. So it's going to be market value on that day. That's the key thing to remember in that scenario. Because I see it not all the time, but it's common enough that adult child inherits the property, says, "Hey, I got a free property now. I'll just live there." And turns that into a personal residence. That is a mistake to be aware of on that one. What else do we have, Serena?